I'm going to keep this pretty laid back because The Sound of Freedom is a heavy, heavy movie, and I kind of just want to sit here and talk about it for a minute. And so this movie involves bad people doing very awful things to children, and one man's journey to rescue as many children as possible from the trafficking trade. That's all you need to know. And I will tell you right off the bat, I was really, really nervous going into this film. I knew nothing about it, and I was concerned as to how explicit things were going to get because obviously I don't believe that you can do exploitative things to kids in order to just make a scene in a movie that's against exploiting children. Obviously. So that's what Cuties did. They got blasted for it, rightfully so. And so that is what led to a lot of the dread that I felt in this movie. I've seen it twice now, and we'll get to that in a minute, but the dread and the suspense in The Sound of Freedom is very, very real. They did a wonderful job at crafting really suspenseful and scary scenes without showing you anything. It's all hinted at, and I think that's actually works to its benefit because the human mind your mind could scare you the most more than what another filmmaker or artist can. And so by not really showing you much, just giving you enough so that you understand what horrible things are happening, you're gonna think the worst thing that you can think. And that's part of what makes this movie really, really good and terrifying, while technically it's just a lot of talking. There's no real action, there's a little bit, but not too much. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit about why I think everyone should see this film. I think it's really important because of the topic, and I tend to evaluate movies not based on whether or not they support an agenda that I like, because I don't believe that a movie being ideologically aligned with what I believe makes it a good movie, and being ideologically not aligned with what I believe doesn't make it a bad movie either. I try to be very apolitical about it, not because I don't have political opinions, I do. It's just that I don't really feel at home on either side of the political spectrum, so I just call myself apolitical and think whatever the heck I want to think. And so with this movie, it is a good movie. And the message it portrays is very, very important, and it's something that I really believe in. And so I did pay it forward with the program that they have, and I'm really glad that this movie is succeeding as much as it succeeds, because I do think that the topic in general of just children being exploited by really bad people, rich people, and just the whole thing that's going on in the background that nobody seems to want to talk about. We'll talk about everything else. We will argue till we're blue in the face about everything else except that. But that's something that's actually harming so many people, and I think it is something that we should be talking about. And so I do believe that you should go see this movie, just like on a principled stance. I think it's good to go support this film just so that we can create a conversation. And if enough people have enough conversations, maybe that will lead to enough people standing up and potentially doing something about it. Enough politicians, enough police officers. Who knows? It all starts with a conversation, and then a handful of people take action, hopefully. But back to, is the movie good? Yes, it is. I think this movie is incredibly well shot and written, especially for the budget that they had. You definitely can tell the filmmakers behind the scenes, definitely had to work with what they were given, and I felt like they did a good job. And I was concerned because the first time I saw it, I was very nervous and there was a lot of dread. But I did feel that it was a bit slow the first time, because when they do there's a big scene that you think is the end where they rescue a bunch of children. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be about the end of the movie. This feels like the end of a third act. And then the movie keeps going for another 20 minutes. And throughout that point, I felt that the movie was kind of slow, so I thought there was a pacing issue. Having watched it a second time, I did not feel that. I even took alcohol into the theater with me because I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to sit through this thing again. It's kind of slow. I know it's important, but come on. But I actually didn't feel that way. This movie is actually, when you take away the intensity and the awfulness of the subject matter, this movie is actually pretty good, and there's actually some funny scenes in it. The dialogue is good. A lot of it is really well crafted, and so props for that. I really did enjoy this movie, and I think that we should all go see it. If you haven't seen it yet, it's probably still in theaters. I would recommend that you go out and see it. You know, even if it's not necessarily your kind of movie, um, just from a principle standpoint, I feel like it does have the power to be culturally impactful and culturally important. And with apparently so many people in the media trying to downplay this film for whatever stupid reason, I don't understand. I'll probably make videos about that, the media lying about the movie later. So subscribe for more of that. But I would definitely say that we should go out and see this movie at least once. And so yeah, that's my review for The Sound of Freedom. I think it's a very good film, not just because it has a good message. I try to keep those things separate. I mean, it does add to the movie overall, but I approve of the message, and I think the film has artistic merit on its own. So put them both together, and I think it is something worth watching. It will definitely weigh on your consciousness and psyche. It may be triggering for some people who have very traumatic past, so be aware of that, because again, the subject matter is really, really terrible. And so maybe not everyone should see it, especially if you are very, very sensitive to that sort of thing. But if you think you can stomach it, I think you should see it. And subscribe for more movie thoughts on movies I think you should see and movies that I think you should not see, because there's definitely some of those. Check out another video right here. I will see you guys later. Bye.